Hello all and thank you for tuning in. My name is Mike and welcome to this trip report. Today we'll be flying on board Delta Airlines on their Airbus A321neo from Atlanta, Georgia down to Tampa, Florida. The Airbus A321neo is one of the newest aircraft in the Delta fleet. First flying in 2022, the aircraft has since become a pretty dominant aircraft in the domestic route network. You typically will see these aircraft on longer routes. Here we are at Hartsfield Jackson's domestic terminal and here I am grabbing the boarding pass. I've often ranted in the past about ATL TSA taking forever. However, today, there was only 5 people ahead of me. This set a record for the shortest time I've ever been through at ATL. Another cool thing about today at ATL was that it was actually snowing. It's hard to see, and it wasn't sticking, but it's true. Here goes one of my buddies off to Tokyo Haneda on board this Delta Airlines Airbus A350 battling through the snow and wind. In this video right here, you can clearly see the snow building up as this Southwest 737-700 heading off to Houston Hobby. I also decided to take a peek at the club at ATL. You can access this with Priority Pass. Shortly enough though, it was time to head over to gate B24 where this flight to Tampa was boarding. Working the magic today is this 2024 built Airbus A321neo. It is registered November 576 Delta Tango. Shortly enough though, we were boarding, and one thing you cannot tell in this video is just how cold it was outside. The temperature was around 21 degrees with a wind chill of 0, so shout out to our ground crew for keeping us moving today, even despite the freezing cold weather, and that's one thing you'll know about this trip. Shortly enough though, we were walking through the first class cabin. Delta introduced a new first class cabin on the Airbus A321neo, and I can't wait to try it out one day. However, we have to keep moving back. Shortly enough though, once we got moving again, seat 13A is going to be my seat for this flight down to Tampa. And even despite the bad weather, we were able to push back on time. Massive shout out to the ground crew who were working during Arctic blast winds as well as snowfall, which for all my northern viewers, snowfall in Atlanta is super rare. Also, Arctic winds are very rare also in Atlanta too. Now don't get me wrong, Atlanta can get cold, but not the cold that I saw this day. It's so cold in fact that the engine was smoking from starting up. And at this point right here, you can clearly see some of the snow starting to form. Down at the airport, it wasn't that bad, but up north where I live, in Roswell, it was definitely starting to stick. And for the first time ever flying out of Hartsfield, we weren't taxiing straight to the runway. We were taxiing to a de-icing pad following this 757 to Fort Lauderdale. And here we have right next to us, a Delta A321 heading off to Cancun, Mexico. I'm sure those people are ready to get out of the cold as well. This is my first time experiencing a de-icing in Atlanta. Now then again, they aren't really used very often as well. For those who don't know what de-icing is, it's basically these people shooting high pressure liquids at super high temperatures at wings and other elements of the aircraft so they get all the ice off the wings. Because even the smallest amount of ice on the wings can really change the way that the airflow happens. I've said it before already, but massive shout out to the super hard working staff here at Hartsfield today. They really made a difference, that's all I gotta say. And shortly after enough, we finished up with the de-icing. Now it's time for us to taxi over to Hartsfield runway 27 right for a very quick departure and a very windy departure off to Tampa. And for the first time ever, you can actually hear the PW engines buzz. Enjoy the takeoff. with that takeoff, we are now on our way down to Tampa. And so let's go take a look at the seat, the IFE, as well as the cabin service. The seat itself is very comfortable. It's definitely great for those longer flights. You have a tray table that slides as well as adjusts forward and aft. You have a massive seatback pocket with a safety information card, access on how to use the Delta Sync Wi-Fi, as well as the in-flight menu for those bigger snacks that you may get. The seat pocket itself is very big, and I also forgot to mention it comes with an air sickness bag as well. Comfort Plus also has a unique smaller pocket which is designed for cell phones. Underneath the seat, you have plenty amount of storage space as well. You also have a power outlet as well as a USB-A port. There's also another USB-A port underneath the seat and underneath the seat back screen, as well as a headphone jack. The Delta Studio in-flight entertainment system is also one of the best out there as well. You have a wide selection of movies, all the way from classics all the way up to the most recent stuff. You have a great selection of TV series as well. You have YouTube Music in case if you feel like playing some really good music. You have plenty of games to keep you occupied for those long transcontinental flights. Oops, made a mistake. You have live TV over there for plenty of live TV shows, as well as a designated kids area, which for those destinations such as Tampa where there's a bunch of kids traveling, it's very handy. You also have plenty of information about your flight as well. Loading on the flight tracker, you have a really great picture of a Delta A350 going off into the sunset. It does take a minute forever though to get the flight tracker loading. Once it is though, it has a really cool 3D system, and it shows a perfect 3D image of the A321neo that we're flying. It also has plenty of camera angles as well. As you can see, the 360 view. The cabin service on today's flight was a little bit disappointing though. You have a selection of bottle of water as well as Biscoff cookies. But shortly enough though, the cabin service was complete, and that was a good thing because we were in for a very bumpy descent and final approach into Tampa. As we make our final approach into Tampa, here are my thoughts for today's flight. Delta Airlines did a fantastic job overall with the service. However, my biggest gripe with it is the fact that there's very limited beverage options on a flight of this length. Now you might be thinking, it's only an hour flight, but here's the truth. Southwest does a full beverage service on a flight of this length. They even do a full beverage service on a 40-minute flight. Not to mention, on other airlines such as Spirit or Frontier, you can buy sodas and all that stuff. I'm not saying that Delta has to do a full beverage service, but at least offer some sodas because a low-cost airline like Southwest offers it for free. But other than that, the service was fantastic, and Biscoff cookies are always a favorite of mine. The Airbus A321neo, on the other hand, is a very nice aircraft. It's super quiet and absorbs turbulence well, which on a flight from Atlanta to Tampa, you're going to experience a lot of turbulence. That's just knowing that for a fact. The seat itself was very comfortable. It was very supportive and also soft at the same time. It wouldn't hesitate me to sit on this seat for over 6 hours on a flight from, say, Atlanta to Seattle. And also, you can even fly this aircraft transatlantic here soon. The Delta Studio in-flight entertainment system was also fantastic as well. Not only does it have a very good selection of movies as well, you also have plenty of TV shows and other stuff as well. There's even a dedicated kids area which goes above and beyond compared to other airlines, and it's especially handy for a route like Tampa, where you have many kids going to visit the beach. However, what really stood out to me about today's flight was just the sheer dedication and hard work of everyone at Hartsfield. Now then again, snowstorms in Atlanta are very uncommon. They rarely ever happen, and when they do, that airport goes in a havoc mess. However, the Delta employees, and not just the Delta employees, but every other employee, including the de-icers and air traffic controllers, did a great job keeping the airport move smoothly today. Again, this type of weather is very inconvenient for Atlanta because unlike northern airports, we don't know how to handle it there, and they especially can't handle it very well here in Tampa. However, I really got to give a shout out once again to all the hardworking Delta staff. And anyways, speaking of which, we are now on short final, and welcome to Tampa and enjoy this very breezy and cold landing into Tampa. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.